With so many options, why choose Arizona State University?
For me, the only online option was ASU because of the quality. Their faculty was really involved with their students and care about your personal journey. The dedication to my personal development from my professors, that's been extremely valuable to me.
Earn your degree from the nation's most innovative university. Online. That's a degree better. Explore more than 300 undergraduate, graduate, and certificate programs at asuonline.asu.edu.
This podcast is sponsored by Talkspace. You know when you're really stressed or not feeling so great about your life or about yourself? Talking to someone who understands can really help. But who is that person? How do you find them? Where do you even start? Talkspace. Talkspace makes it easy to get the support you need. With Talkspace, you can go online, answer a few questions about your preferences, and be matched with a therapist. And because you'll meet your therapist online, you don't have to take time off work or arrange childcare. You'll meet on your schedule, wherever you feel most at ease. If you're depressed, stressed, struggling with a relationship, or if you want some counseling for you and your partner, or just need a little extra one-on-one support, Talkspace is here for you. Plus, Talkspace works with most major insurers, and most insured members have a $0 copay. No insurance? No problem. Now get $80 off of your first month with promo code SPACE80 when you go to Talkspace.com. Match with a licensed therapist today at Talkspace.com. Save $80 with code SPACE80 at Talkspace.com.
You're listening to Later with Mo Kelly on demand from KFI AM 640.
And this is The Viral Load with me, Tiffany Hobbs. The first story I thought, to be honest, was going to involve eggs. We all know there's an egg shortage. Prices are exorbitant, very cost prohibitive in some places. But this story ended up taking an unusual turn, even more unusual than what I thought it might be in the beginning. There's a man, and he was caught trying to smuggle $10,000 worth of something onto a plane in South America. So what was he trying to smuggle?
Eggs.
Not eggs. I wanted it to be eggs, Mo Kelly. I thought that would give a nice little twist, but that would also be difficult trying to smuggle that many eggs onto a plane, especially given where this person attempted to smuggle the goods that I'll explain. So this genius decided to craft a wig, basically a toupee, and inside of this multi-layered toupee was a very large wig cap. And inside of this wig cap, in somewhat of a honeycomb type design, was $10,000 worth of cocaine.
Hell of a drug.
Hell of a drug. The 40-year-old suspect from South America was attempting to board a flight from Cartagena to Amsterdam.
You mean Cartagena?
Cartagena. I've never been there. What?
I couldn't leave you hanging that out there.
It's fine. I have a whole list of
Keep Gina out of this,
here.
okay?
Cartagena to Amsterdam. I can say that one. When he was stopped at security by an anti-narcotics police officer per a video that was shared on X/Twitter that has now gone viral. The video itself was shared by Colombian National Police. Police said that the amount of cocaine the man had allegedly been trying to smuggle was worth, again, about $10,500 US. And this was shared in a press release this past Monday, February 24th. Officers confirmed that the cocaine capsules were camouflaged in the wig, and they shared footage of the moment in which they captured this suspect and cut the wig off of his scalp. The cutting of the wig was very interesting. It was a decent wig. It didn't necessarily look real on the top, but the underside did in fact look real. So cutting it provided its own kind of weirdness. But when they peeled back the wig cap, you see all of these capsules of cocaine in a bunch of different little compartments inside of the wig. They didn't say how much it weighed. They didn't say, if the man had experienced any sort of discomfort. But the ingenuity, the stupidity to put that into that sort of contraption on your head and attempt to smuggle it into an airport, makes this person definitely a Darwinism candidate.
There's got to be a better way, or at least to give yourself a better chance of smuggling cocaine through an international airport.
There's a lot of places you can hide cocaine that probably would be a little less easily detected.
Yeah, drug mules have been put through a lot.
Yes, and that also, and I wonder if this person decided to go with the top versus internally, because people have fallen victim to putting drugs inside of their body to hide them and smuggle them. They've died, gotten really sick. On top, not as much.
What I don't understand is, since they were in capsules, couldn't they have been just put in a regular, like a bag for that matter?
That wouldn't be so exciting. This was an exciting, foray into criminal activity for this 40-year-old guy. We don't know what his life had been like. He might have had a boring life.
But if you encounter a drug-sniffing dog, it doesn't matter where it is. The dog is going to find it. So you might as well just put it in your, your attaché case or something, like it's your, regular medicine for that matter.
That would be boring, Mo. He wanted to shake it up.
I want him to have a chance to win. He didn't give himself the best chance to win.
He's going to have a lot of chances to do many things in jail. Winning probably is not amongst them. On to our next story. This story involves etiquette. In 2025, there are still etiquette classes being taught around the world, and especially in our country.
No hats indoors.
To teach young women and men how to be their best selves in public. Well, this particular class went viral. This woman, the teacher, has taught this class for years. She's gone viral before. And this particular class, there's an excerpt from, and we'll play it now. This one has to do with picking up a dropped pencil.
So, oh my gosh, I dropped my pencil. What you don't do, ladies, is walk to the front of the item and squat to pick it up. It's in front of you. Naturally, your legs will open to give you clearance to pick it up.
What?
Is that appropriate for a lady? Absolutely not. So we don't squat. We don't walk in front of the item. Nor do you go to the front of the item and bend over. Too much exposure back there. We don't want to expose our rear end, showing like that. Nor, if you're wearing a shirt and pants, your shirt will go up, your pants goes down a little, and then you're exposing yourself. That's not appropriate for a lady. So the proper way a lady picks something up is to walk to the side of the item. Lock your feet, lock your knees. It's important to lock your knees because when you go down, your knees support each other. If you're wearing a dress, hold the hem of your dress because when you go down, your dress will rise. So you hold the hem of your dress, you go down gracefully, pick it up, and you're up. That's how a lady picks something up. Capiche?
No, absolutely.
That's a lot of damn work.
It's very exhausting to be a young lady, quote unquote, in 2025. And this 10-point plan of how to pick up a pencil was full of comments, of course, on the post where people were saying things like, just kick the damn thing over to a man and have him pick it up. Or my favorite, just pick it up with your toes and go on with your life. Like, why is eggs are $12 and $17 and we're worried about how to pick up a pencil?
All I can say is that might be at the end of the spectrum, almost to the ridiculous end.
You think?
But I think that there is value in etiquette and also these types of classes where people learn how to comport themselves, learn how to use which particular fork in a dinner serving, or which side to walk on the side of a lady when you're walking on the street.
There's pushback for that too. That's going viral, by the way.
That's okay. They're wrong. I don't care about pushback. I am a firm believer. You stand, offer your seat if need be when a lady comes into a room. This was drilled in my head by my father. Walking on the street side when you're walking with a woman down the street, like you're closer to danger.
I agree.
You don't wear a hat indoors. And that's something that bothers me to this day. Go to a restaurant and I see all these baseball caps of guys wearing hats indoors. You don't do it. You're not supposed to do it. But, if you don't know any better, you won't do any better.
If I drop a pencil, I am not going to choreograph my attempt at picking it up by remembering what place to put my feet or how to lock my legs or, again, what side of the pencil I'm supposed to be on. I'm going to get the pencil and I'm going to go about my day, and I don't want to hear anything about it.
Look, I remember when my sister was taught, no, you don't cross your legs, you cross your ankles. That was just something that was just really, really important in our particular household. I have an appreciation for etiquette. In this scenario, you should have just said, just pick up another pencil. And why are you using a pencil anyhow? Why are you using a pencil right now?
Oh, I dropped it. Oh, God.
No. Tiffany Hobbs is literally using a pencil right now. What is this?
Pencils.
1984, number 2 Ticonderoga?
I'm classic like that. And I'm not the type of person who's going to go around the pencil. I'm just going to pick it up like I'm doing right now. I haven't
used a pencil this century.
Look away.
I'm sorry.
I picked it up.
And you didn't do it in the correct way.
Oh, well.
Mark, how do you pick up a pencil? Is it very sexy?
I try not to bend over and show my stuff, but I'll tell you, here's a little secret for journalists. You take pencils out when you're reporting out in the wild, because if it's raining, that smears your ink. You always carry a pencil if you're a reporter.
Thank you, Mark.
Well, I've never worked as a reporter. I worked as a beat writer, and it was always indoors. That wasn't something I had to consider.
Pencils just feel better.
Very demure.
Thank you.
KFI AM 640. We'll have part 2 of the viral load in just a moment. We're live everywhere in the iHeart.
This podcast is sponsored by Talkspace. You know when you're really stressed or not feeling so great about your life or about yourself? Talking to someone who understands can really help. But who is that person? How do you find them? Where do you even start? Talkspace. Talkspace makes it easy to get the support you need. With Talkspace, you can go online, answer a few questions about your preferences, and be matched with a therapist. And because you'll meet your therapist online, you don't have to take time off work or arrange childcare. You'll meet on your schedule, wherever you feel most at ease. If you're depressed, stressed, struggling with a relationship, or if you want some counseling for you and your partner, or just need a little extra one-on-one support, Talkspace is here for you. Plus, Talkspace works with most major insurers, and most insured members have a $0 copay. No insurance? No problem. Now get $80 off of your first month with promo code SPACE80 when you go to Talkspace.com. Match with a licensed therapist today at Talkspace.com. Save $80 with code SPACE80 at Talkspace.com.
Radio app.
You're listening to Later with Mo Kelly on demand from KFI AM 640.
Now it's time for the viral load with Tiffany. Live on KFI is Later with Mo Kelly. She'll talk about the topics on social media. The viral load with Tiffany Hobbs.
KFI, it's Later with Mo Kelly, and this is part 2 of the viral load with Tiffany Hobbs.
Welcome to the fun and exciting and unique world of animal-shaped rocks or animal-shaped mountains. Mo, you do a lot of traveling. You've done a lot of international traveling. In your travels, have you ever been steered toward or have happened upon a rock or a mountainside that resembles some sort of animal, something famous in that region, or maybe a human-like figure, anything like that?
I'm sure, but nothing comes to mind, but I'm sure.
These are really big tourist attractions. You have Elephant Rock in Iceland, shaped like an elephant. You have Frog Rock in New Zealand, and you have Gorilla Rock in Italy. Those are just a few of
Gorilla Rock, yes.
There you go.
Yes.
Those are just a few of the animal-shaped rocks that are most popular around the world. There's a new entry to the list, and this one comes from a Chinese riverside mountain or cliff, and it is called Puppy Mountain. Puppy Mountain. And when you Google this, and I highly encourage you to do so, you'll see a very distinct image or silhouette of what looks to be a puppy or a small dog kind of kneeling down, let's say, as if it were going down to maybe take a sip of water or play with you in some way. It's really distinct. You can see it easily. How was Puppy Rock discovered? Well, Shanghai-based designer Guo Qingshan posted a vacation photo on Valentine's Day and captioned it Puppy Mountain. It became a sensation in China and created a new tourist destination because, of course, this photo went absolutely viral. Guo had gone on a hike while visiting his hometown of Yisheng in central China's Hubei province. And when he reviewed the photos, he noticed something he hadn't seen before. You might have done that. You go back and you look at all these photos that you've taken and you see things in the background. And it's like, oh, wow, I didn't know I caught that. Well, Guo realized that he saw something that was shaped like a dog's head rested on the ground next to this beautiful river. He said, it was so magical and cute. I was so excited and happy when I discovered it. He posted it on social media app in China that's like X/Twitter, Red Note, and it received 120,000 likes within 10 days. On another media platform, he posted the photo and it drew millions of views. Dog owners started to post their own photos of their own dogs that resembled that particular puppy mountain. And other people are now going back into their own photos. This is another viral side of this story. It's taken on new legs, so to speak. And people are finding that they have visited this area and that they captured Puppy Mountain in the background. And so now Puppy Mountain is a new thing and people are visiting it in droves.
That's so cute.
It's very sweet. It's a heartwarming story. And we needed a heartwarming palate cleanser. Before we get into our last story quickly, there's a story that went viral a few years ago. Young lady, Gabby Petito, who went on a camping trip in a camper van with her then fiance, Brian Laundrie. Unfortunately, this became a true crime story shared around the world because both Gabby Petito and Brian Laundrie ended up deceased, with the allegations that Brian Laundrie killed his fiancee, Gabby Petito. The story didn't have a lot of clarity and it became its own media sensation again this year as Netflix picked up its true crime docuseries that now focuses on the Gabby Petito and Brian Laundrie story. Well, this series has gone viral. People are really into it, but that's not the big story. The big story is that there is one hero who has emerged from the Gabby Petito American murder story on Netflix, and her name is Loretta Bush. But people are finding that they cannot find this special FBI agent who is assigned to the case, Loretta Bush, because Loretta Bush is largely unfindable. She is an enigma online. There's no social media presence. And what people are finding is that Loretta Bush is likely an alias because this is an FBI agent.
Yeah, I don't think... I know a few FBI agents, and I'm not saying that to brag. I'm saying they keep very low profiles. They don't. I have one who has a Facebook profile, but by and large, they don't have an online presence for obvious reasons.
Yeah, and this is common sense to you and I, but the virality of this story is that people have been searching for this woman in droves, and they're looking for their campaigns to find her, kind of a find Loretta Bush type subset of this story, because people were really taken by Loretta, quote unquote, Loretta's empathy in the case, her dedication to the case. And what she says, Loretta Bush says, is a continuance of finding missing people and making their stories whole. But now she has emerged as a star in her own right, and she's developed a fan base, and people are trying to pin this woman down.
Yeah, I believe it's an alias.
It's an alias. Yeah. Loretta Bush.
There's no reason for her to have her real name out there.
No. And to that fact, there are quite a few FBI agents who are interviewed in this story who also go by aliases, and people are finding, again, that this is common. The viral part is that FBI agents don't use their real names, and you're not going to be able to find this woman online because you won't know her real name. And that's by design. And that is this week's Viral Load.
You're listening to Later with Mo Kelly on demand from KFI AM 640.
You may not remember this, but back in 2017, there was this promoter by the name of Billy McFarland, and he advertised this exclusive festival experience, this luxurious experience, and people were paying more than $10,000. And long story short, he could not deliver on anything which was promised for the $10,000. It was inadequate hotel housing, food. They got cold sandwiches. It was a complete disaster, and it never even officially began. And so Billy McFarland, long story short, ended up going to prison for fraud. And he had to pay millions of dollars in restitution, which he has not as of yet. It was called Fyre Festival. There were 2 different documentaries. And you need to see both of them because both of them are hilarious. You remember, Stefan?
Oh boy. Just real quick. I still remember exactly where I was. I was waking up, getting ready for Uber, and I saw the infamous sandwich pic on what was then Twitter. And me and my ex were like, what the hell does this mean? And then it just blew up after that.
It took on a life of its own. One, because it was so heavily promoted.
Yeah.
And 2, you had legitimate stars who were connected to it, who promised to appear, be part of the event, and it all fell apart. Billy McFarland went to jail for years. He had to pay millions in restitution. I don't think he ever paid it off. Now that 26 million, he pleaded guilty to defrauding investors of 26 million. And now he's out of prison, and you think, well, he needs to do something else, right? He can't go back and do the exact same thing that he was convicted of fraud of and call it the exact same thing. Well, that's what Billy McFarland is actually doing. Fyre Festival 2 is supposed to take place in May. He is already taking people's money for advance tickets for an unnamed scheduled itinerary of events, charging more than $10,000. Listen to this.
Fyre Festival is back, if you can believe it. It's been 8 years since this ad premiered, featuring bikini-clad models and promising an unforgettable Caribbean experience, complete with luxurious accommodations and A-list entertainment.
It was basically the exact opposite of everything we were promised.
And unforgettable it was. Festival goers who shelled out thousands of dollars were greeted with tents and soggy sandwiches.
We had no electricity, there was no showers, there was no bathrooms, there was no running water.
The disaster gained worldwide attention, spawning multiple documentaries.
An absolute disaster.
And landing co-founder Billy McFarland in prison for 4 years for fraud.
I just really should have canceled everything and just stopped lying.
After being released from prison in 2022, McFarland told our Michael Strahan he is not a con man.
I put every dollar I had or could find to make this festival happen.
Now he says Fyre Festival is happening for real this time.
Let me back up. If you go to jail for fraud, you're pretty much definitely a con man, especially when you pleaded guilty.
McFarland told our Michael Strahan he is not a con man.
I put every dollar I had or could find to make this festival happen.
Now he says Fyre Festival is happening for real this time. McFarland posting, I'm sure many people think I'm crazy for doing this again, but I feel I'd be crazy not to do it again. The festival is set to take place on a Mexican island beginning in late May. Tickets now on sale, although no performers have been announced.
What makes Fyre so cool is that we are selling the experience of Fyre. I want to be one of the first festivals that can sell out with no artists.
A total of 2,000 tickets are being sold. The cheapest, $1,400, all the way up to a whopping $1.1 million, which gets you a stay on a private yacht. And McFarland could use the money. He owes $26 million in restitution from his first Fyre Festival.
But it's not even clear, since he's on parole/probation, that he would be able to go.
Okay, and I have another thing to pick at. He wants to be the first concert, he wants to create the first concert to sell tickets without knowing the lineup. Has he heard of Coachella? I mean, people buy these, Richie included, buy these a year in advance.
Yeah.
And they don't even know who's going to play yet. Kind of like what Mark likes to say, if anyone buys that ticket, they need to have their head examined.
No, they deserve to have their money taken from them. If you're going to offer up $1,400 or any sum of money for a second chance at being defrauded, you deserve to get nothing in return, and I'm rooting against you. I hope he defrauds everyone again, just to teach these individuals a lesson, a very important lesson.
Wouldn't you, though, like to see the return of shame to the United States? Like, I'm no expert on Japanese culture, but I have seen Shogun, and I sure would like to see a guy like that cut off a pinky or commit seppuku or something after a massive fraud like that.
There is something, how should I say this? There is something missing, completely missing from American culture when it comes to self-awareness. That's the only way I can describe it.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like things that would have completely gotten a person shunned and bumped out of public life forever in the old days of, 10 years ago, that doesn't exist anymore. There's nothing you can do now.
You can't shame the shameless. And I believe we're a shameless nation now, where nothing really matters. We're talking about etiquette. Etiquette has no place in today's world, in today's country, in today's America. We don't care about anything like that. And you mentioned like a Shogun. Japanese and Asian cultures, they would never put up with anything like this.
No.
Never.
And I remember even like walking around in Austria where people you don't know at a corner will scold you for crossing against the light. I would like to see a little bit more people banding together to shame people who do objectively terrible things.
Well, our culture is completely upside down compared to, when I say Asian culture, I know it's not just one culture, but I'm saying in general, like Korean culture and Japanese culture, they actually revere older members of their society and they swear by education. That's not the case here.
No. We mock education. That's the American way.
And we treat elderly people like they have no value.
I remember President Obama getting mocked for being a constitutional scholar. And I remember thinking at the time, what the hell is this? How do you do that?
We look at education as now some form of elitism and should be mocked.
Yeah, I'd like to just flip the whole card table over and see grifters, liars, cheaters, poor sports, the whole lot of them just shunned.
Hey, Mark, we mock education and science in the middle of a measles evolving epidemic.
That seems kind of like short-term thinking, if you know what I mean.
I just am not surprised by people's willingness to spend $10,000 or more on the opportunity to be conned. The opportunity to be conned because this individual has nothing in his name. He has no successful track record of doing events, and the first Fyre Festival was just, a colossal mishap. No, he has no history of producing events to his name. This was the first. It was horrific. People were taking one for the team. It was a bad look. But, and I'm going to say this, and this may be very political to say, I believe we are now in a point in time where people would say, hey, this game show host is actually right about everything. He should be president. Why not have Fyre Festival 2 happen and charge people thousands of dollars to do what? To celebrate Fyre, because that's all he's advertising right now. I want to be the first to promote Fyre. What the hell? Oh, yeah, I forgot where we're at right now.
As Don King, the great boxing promoter, would say.
And stomper of people to death, don't forget.
That's true. Only in America.
This podcast is sponsored by Talkspace. You know when you're really stressed or not feeling so great about your life or about yourself? Talking to someone who understands can really help. But who is that person? How do you find them? Where do you even start? Talkspace. Talkspace makes it easy to get the support you need. With Talkspace, you can go online, answer a few questions about your preferences, and be matched with a therapist. And because you'll meet your therapist online, you don't have to take time off work or arrange childcare. You'll meet on your schedule, wherever you feel most at ease. If you're depressed, stressed, struggling with a relationship, or if you want some counseling for you and your partner, or just need a little extra one-on-one support, Talkspace is here for you. Plus, Talkspace works with most major insurers, and most insured members have a $0 copay. No insurance? No problem. Now get $80 off of your first month with promo code SPACE80 when you go to Talkspace.com. Match with a licensed therapist today at Talkspace.com. Save $80 with code SPACE80 at Talkspace.com.
That's exactly right.
You're listening to Later with Mo Kelly on demand from KFI AM 640.
Here is my final thought for the evening. Time and time again, we are told that the government should be run more like a business. And I personally bristle every time I hear that. Businesses are profit driven. The government, that is about or should be about providing services that private industry is either ill-equipped or ill-suited to provide. That is why there are such things as police and fire departments, which are not predicated on turning a profit. That is why there are things like public education, where we aren't forced to pay for all levels of our schooling. That's why taxes are collected to pay for street maintenance, sidewalk repair, or other public works, for example. If you were to have government work like a business, then you would have anarchy. I mean, as much as we complain about the cost of eggs and gas right now, and I hear from you, you all are some complaining mother fathers. Imagine having to worry about the escalating price of government services yearly because the government would then put profits first, like a business. Imagine the struggles of small businesses without federal tax incentives. Tax incentives aren't a moneymaker for the government. Imagine the free market without the benefit of grants or subsidies. How do you grow a small business without them? But those things don't generate profit either for the federal government, but they have great value to our economy. Imagine police and fire departments being run like businesses and not services provided by state and local governments. Imagine FEMA providing loans with interest to assist disaster victims instead of actual aid. Imagine having to pay back aid. Because businesses aren't in the business of giving away free money to help people with no chance of a return on that investment. Businesses charge to maximize profits because that's what businesses do. Or the government could place sales tax on every federal good or service now because you would have to purchase it. Why? Because you want government run like a business. That's what happens when you spend money on businesses. You pay sales tax. If you want the federal government to be more like a business, well, that's what it would include. Imagine the federal government being subject to the whims of market forces and competition. No way in hell you want that. Remember, you want government to be more like business. I'm here to remind you, businesses fail. These are some of the arguments why you don't want to privatize Social Security, for example. And I know what some of you are thinking. I'm not like, a mind reader or a soothsayer, but I hear the arguments, the same arguments that actual businesses are better at what they do than what government does. And yes, they just do different things. But don't forget, actual businesses can go bankrupt and start over possibly if they make a mistake, not the actual government. A business going bankrupt, let me remind you, receives what? Federal protection under the bankruptcy code. The federal government can't file Chapter 11 and also get federal protection. See the problem with that? The government can't file Chapter 7 bankruptcy and liquidate its assets to pay off its creditors like a business. Oh, yes, let's sell the Lincoln Memorial and the Washington Monument to help pay off the national debt. See? It doesn't work like that. Businesses both incur risk and have safety nets. Safety nets provided by whom? Say it with me, the federal government. America learned through the Great Depression that the government and business had to have some degree of daylight separation, or the collapse of markets could collapse the whole country. The federal government is at best a big old nonprofit. We pay into it through taxes, but we don't pay for it in terms of per use of services, purchasing goods, or subscriptions. I have a Disney Plus subscription. So does Tawala, but we don't have a fire department or 911 subscription. I don't have the premium plan where if I pay more, I can also get the ambulance service and sidewalk repair bundle. Government was never designed to work like that or be managed with a similar ethos. Imagine the federal government raising its prices each year like landlords raise rent. Because that's what businesses do. Profit motive, profit driven. Or raise the interest rates because it can as the federal government, and also then charge high interest rates for all the services it provides because that's what credit cards and banks do. They try to make money. Yes, run the federal government like Wells Fargo. Say that stuff out loud. It's just a horrible idea, running government like a business. You don't want that. You want the government to better manage spending. That's something I think we all can agree upon. The problem is that too many people, maybe you're one of them, you've confused extreme wealth of individuals as somehow indicative of a well-run company. It's not. Ask the Amazon employees, the Washington Post employees about Jeff Bezos. Ask the Tesla employees about Elon Musk and what they have to fight for daily. You as the citizen would be akin to the Amazon delivery driver working a 12-hour shift and urinating in a water bottle while on the job. You're not Jeff Bezos, and don't you forget it. That's what running America as a business looks like. There is no trickle down, and its employees always get the short end of the stick. For KFI AM 640, I'm Mo Kelly.
Opinion without the preach.
KFI.
And KOST HD2.
Los Angeles, Orange County.
Live everywhere on the iHeartRadio app.
This podcast is sponsored by Talkspace. You know when you're really stressed or not feeling so great about your life or about yourself? Talking to someone who understands can really help. But who is that person? How do you find them? Where do you even start? Talkspace. Talkspace makes it easy to get the support you need. With Talkspace, you can go online, answer a few questions about your preferences, and be matched with a therapist. And because you'll meet your therapist online, you don't have to take time off work or arrange childcare. You'll meet on your schedule, wherever you feel most at ease. If you're depressed, stressed, struggling with a relationship, or if you want some counseling for you and your partner, or just need a little extra one-on-one support, Talkspace is here for you. Plus, Talkspace works with most major insurers, and most insured members have a $0 copay. No insurance? No problem. Now get $80 off of your first month with promo code SPACE80 when you go to Talkspace.com. Match with a licensed therapist today at Talkspace.com. Save $80 with code SPACE80 at Talkspace.com.